Hi again, everyone. Welcome back. I hope everyone is doing okay. As you may be able to tell by the title of this video, today I'm going to be talking about criticism, especially how it applies to art. I like to start off by saying that criticism is important for one's growth, especially as an artist, and especially in my case, where I'm still very much in an exploratory phase. And criticism is how I take those explorations and dissolve them into lessons and tools. But before we get into any of that, I'd like to start off by talking a little bit about this painting. This clock I actually drew quite a while back and have just recently been able to get to it to paint. And I'm glad I did, because I have a bad habit of sitting on art, on unfinished art specifically, for too long, and I lose motivation, and I guess that piece of art, in a sense, loses its place in my heart, and so I'm not as attached to it anymore. But this one was getting to where it was starting to lose its luster, so getting it finished before that happened was probably in my best interest. This one was painted on hot press paper, which I haven't painted on in a while, um, and I'm still not sure of which of the two I prefer between hot press and cold press, because they both have their qualities that I enjoy and their qualities that I don't necessarily enjoy, and I'll get into that in a different time, different place. But like I said in the introduction, this is very much an exploratory piece for me, especially stylistically and how I approach painting certain layers with certain techniques, which was very, very much fun. There's obviously a lot of things that I feel I did poorly, but also a lot of things that ended up looking really good that I didn't intend on. Both of those things aren't necessarily good things. Obviously, the first being pretty obvious. Things I did poorly are just things I really need to work on to improve my execution of that. And the things that ended up turning out good that I didn't intend, well, I really should. If it's going to turn out good, I should intend it to do so. One of those things that I feel I failed on was I feel like the colors kind of fought with each other as I was putting the piece together. Now, towards the end, it all kind of comes together and it kind of sits nicely. But there was a good portion of the painting process where I just kind of feel like the colors, they were not playing nice. And that could have been easily avoided if I were to have done a color study and a color test. Not even just a simplified version of the painting, but even just laying down the colors next to each other to see how they work together. But I didn't do that. Specifically, the thing that I think worked out really well that I didn't necessarily intend on was the sort of cloudy and splotchy texture. Um, that w- the that was an intended feature, but not necessarily the way it turned out. I did have a gradient intended for the background, but I had not intended in laying it over the foreground as well. As you can see at the bottom of the clock, I really like the way that overlays and adds some texture. I am really glad I simplified the clock face. When I began painting, I had plans to sort of be a little bit more elaborate with some design features, almost solely in the watercolor, I'd say in the underdrawing. Um, and where I'm at now, I wasn't ready for it. I'm not ready for it now. I wasn't ready for it then, and sort of steering away from that. Even though if done well, it would have looked great with a little more detail on the clock face, but steering away from it to preserve what I already had was probably one of the better decisions I made in this painting. And like I say with almost every painting I do here, I am happy with the way it turned out. Um, it was a, a lot of learning took place, and I enjoy learning. I enjoy painting, and I enjoy learning, so of course I had fun. Now let's talk about criticism for a minute or many minutes. As you may have seen in videos past, I criticize my own work a lot. And not just in voiceovers for YouTube videos, but oftentimes in real time I'll be criticizing myself. If I make a mistake, I can usually point it out on the spot. Yeah, I'll do something, I'm like, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen, or I wasn't supposed to do that, or I shouldn't have done that. And often I'll come back to my paintings and I'll look over them, and sometimes I'll actually intentionally sit there and pick out all the things I don't like about it, or all the mistakes, if you will. And it's important for me to say I don't do this to beat myself up. I don't do this to degrade myself as an artist. I do this because I want to keep moving forward. Where I'm at now as an artist is not my final destination, and I want to get moving. I like to make the analogy, healthy self-criticism is like a self-watering plant, in the sense that if you're able to look at your own work and criticize it in an analytical way, saying, here's where you went right, here's where you went wrong, here's where you can improve, here's where you have improved. Being able to see all that, it paints a picture for you of just exactly where you are as an artist. Because if you lean too far in either other direction, saying that, oh, I never have and never will make any mistakes, well, you're wrong there, of course, and you're not going to learn anything from that. You're going to stay exactly where you are, and that is not perfection. And leaning the other direction of thinking that everything you do is a mistake and you'll never get better, well, that's a surefire way to do so. Because you're just going to be beating yourself up. You're not looking at how you can improve. You're just looking at yourself as bad, and that's not the truth either. And I don't want to say I'm perfect at criticizing myself, which actually brings me into my second point, as getting other eyes on your art and having them tell you where you can improve, where they think you have improved if they've been following you as an artist, and where you went right. Also, other abstract things like, what do they feel about the painting? What story is being told? You know, what mood is coming across? Because you probably had a mood going into it. You know, you were probably injecting a part of yourself into it, and having someone say perhaps that that's not what they got out of it, it doesn't mean that you did it poorly, but it does mean that you have an opportunity to learn of how you could do it better. I'd also like to point out that it doesn't take an artist to be a critic, especially those critics in confidence that we have, where you show them a piece knowing that they're going to give you honest feedback. They don't have to be an artist. They don't have to know how to draw. They don't have to know how to paint. They don't have to know any famous artists. They can have an opinion, and they represent viewers at large. Because chances are, not all of the consumers of your art are going to be artists. Actually, chances are a majority of them are not going to be. And so having people in your life that can give you feedback who aren't artists is also very important. And like I said earlier on in this video, learning to take in criticism and learn from it and implement it is one of the best things you can do for yourself, not just in art, but also in life in general. You've probably heard the saying, you are what you eat, and you might have also heard the saying, you are who you hang around. And I'd like to take that and run with it and sort of put that in the perspective of having friends and family members and mentors and leaders in your life who are going to steer you in the right direction and build you up. It doesn't take a genius to realize that that's a good thing. It's a good thing. That's what everyone needs, really. In your life, surrounding yourself with friends that not only can but will call you out when you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, or will pick you up when you fail and falter. That's going to make you a better person. They're going to make you a better person. When we're able to build each other up like that, we become, as a group, greater than the sum of our parts. A well-lubricated machine, a tightly locked mechanism that is self-correcting, it's self-healing, it's self-motivating. And if that is something you have access to in your life, if you have a community where you can run to and get correction and get motivation and get advice and get opinions, I not only urge you to take part in that, but to be thankful for it. Not everyone has that, even though I said everyone needs it, but not everyone has it. And so don't just take advantage of it. Invest into it as well. Invest into your friends and your family. Pick them up when they fall, correct them when they're wrong, and do so with love. Because that's what we need. Anyway, I'm rambling on, so I should probably stop now. If you would like to pick up a copy of this painting, I have a limited run of mini prints 5x7 on my shop. I'll put the link in the description. And at that same shop, you can find the original if you'd like to pick that up as well. Anyway, that's all I have for you. Stay safe out there, take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.